Hey guys, now let's go work on this challenge, passing values to functions with arguments. So parameters are variables that act as placeholders for the values that are to be input to a function when it is called. When a function is defined, it is typically defined along with one or more parameters. The actual values that are input or passed into a function when it is called are known as arguments. So here is a function with two parameters, parameter 1, parameter 2, and this is also called as arguments, or these are values that are input or passed into a function that are known as arguments. Okay, so we have the format here. So then we can call test fun like this, test fun hello world. So this will serve as a container from where we can go and try to call this function and then place customized strings in parameter 1 and parameter 2, give it a value that will be replacing the content of the variables that we have here. So we have passed two string arguments, hello and world, inside the function parameter 1 will equal the string hello, and parameter 2 will equal the string world. Note that you could call test fun again with different arguments, and the parameters will take on the value of the new arguments. Create a function called function with arguments. Okay, let's try to go and do that, just so that I won't make a mistake with the typo here. Call the function with two numbers as arguments. So let's say num1, number 2. So we can call that number 1 or number 2. Then let's see here. Call the function with two numbers as argument. Console.log number 1, number 2. Then let's call that, let's have function with args 1, and let's see if this will work. Function with args 1 and 2 should output 3, and function with args 7, 9 should output 16. Functions with args 1 and 2 and function with arguments 7 and 9. Okay, so what do we need to do here? I think we want to add, there we go. So meaning here, because in the example we just wanted to print out hello world, okay, that's why we have that we have this comma here. However, based from the requirements, we need to have a function that will be adding 1 and 2 and will be outputting 3. And if we have a function with the same arguments that we will be giving value of 7 and 9, this should be outputting 16. So that means we need to add both the parameters here. So we need to add number 1 and number 2, so that once we call the function, we can give it a customized set of argument numbers or values that will be reflected here in number 1, and this one will be reflected to number 2. And if we try to use the function one more time and call it again, we will have a different number, and number 1 here and number 2 will be adding both of these numbers as if they are containers. So number 1 will be 7 and number 2 will be 9. Okay, so at least that will be something that I hope that you got the idea of how functions are called and how we can go and maximize the use of arguments here, or parameters that can be assigned a value or we passed on a value, and we can do some computation for those values that we have passed on inside of the parameters that we have here.